Well, I don't think a six-part Netflix series is privacy, nor is an Oprah interview. What she really wanted was control, because she is a manipulator. She wanted to be able to manipulate people, and she couldn't manipulate the press in the UK. That's why she was angry. She couldn't force people to write the stories that she wanted them to write. So therefore, she left to get privacy so that she could write the stories in her own perspective. This entire documentary has stemmed from a hatred and a jealousy of Kate. That is the reason this entire thing exists, and the entire problems with the royal family and Harry and Meghan exist. She cannot stand Kate because Kate is beautiful.
I mean, what do you read into the fact that some are speculating that she's, you know, kind of being inspired by or copying the Princess of Wales when it comes to fashion choices?
And Meghan's like, oh, these old things, I wear high to low. Well, I've seen those headlines over the years to do with the Princess of Wales, who does wear high-end fashion with high street labels. And one of her favourite labels is Zara. So of course, where Meghan was talking about, oh, I've got this, and Zara, the trousers, because Meghan's really relatable these days. A dress, again, another brand which is loved by the Princess of Wales, worn by Princess Charlotte as well. Of course, she's done this on purpose. She is merching royal children. The big problem is, it's Catherine and William's children. It's pretty twisted even by her standards. She is obsessed with that family, the same as her husband is, just for very different reasons.
She always looks tremendously elegant. I think people love her for that. And if there is one Duchess sitting over in California who is writhing in jealousy about it, that's a small price to pay for the huge pleasure that Kate Middleton brings to the British public at large.
Meghan Markle loses it after Kate Middleton steals the spotlight again. Those jagged capital letters echo what insiders claim was a furious shout ricocheting through the Montecito mansion as new photos of Catherine, Princess of Wales, flooded global screens. The future queen had just glided across Westminster in pearl white silk, and suddenly every headline hailed her flawless poise. Why does one radiant image of Kate ignite such volcanic frustration in Meghan's camp? Tonight we trace the whispers, the rival ambitions, and the jealousy burning behind palace gates, exposing hidden motives. Coronation Day, May 6, 2023, was billed as a moment of unity, yet it drew the first unmistakable battle line. Inside Westminster Abbey, Catherine stood crowned in bespoke Alexander McQueen, lace-echoing Tudor motifs, sapphire earrings glinting beneath the ancient arches. Commentators gushed, social media melted. 6,000 miles away, Meghan cited Archie's birthday, skipped the ceremony, and, according to one well-placed aide, went silent, then paced like a commander who just lost a war. Staffers were told to switch off live coverage, yet muted television sets could not dim the cheers roaring through every news alert. Later that evening, neighbors reported the Sussex security detail making extra patrol rounds after an intense domestic discussion. Royal watchers argue the frustration was less about protocol and more about narrative control. Kate had delivered an image impossible to spin. Even allies in Los Angeles media circles admitted the visuals were unbeatable. Without Meghan to photograph, lenses pivoted to Kate's brief wave and crowned her twice over. 2 months later, Wimbledon unfurled its emerald courts, and Catherine turned a tennis final into another masterclass in effortless royalty. She chatted with ball kids, shared umbrella space with a lineswoman caught in a sudden drizzle, and wrapped the day by presenting the Champions Plate with that half-laugh photographers crave. The clips looped across every platform, amassing millions in hours. Yet as the strawberry crates were cleared away, London tabloids received mysterious tips. High-level peace talks between William and Harry were allegedly imminent, location undisclosed, mediator unnamed. Palace officials flatly denied the story. Commentators noticed the timing, hours after Kate dominated the feeds. Rumors suggest the leak originated from a Sussex publicist hoping to slice into the trending column and remind audiences that another Duchess still deserved attention. The tactic backfired. Networks invited body language experts who compared Kate's relaxed poise with Meghan's past courtside glare. Meanwhile, Montecito sources whispered that Meghan, glued to her phone, fired off rapid-fire texts demanding to know why her initiative on sustainable coffee hadn't trended. By dusk, the narrative belonged to Catherine twice over, first for her sportsmanship, second for weathering a publicity ambush with silent composure. Of course, Wimbledon was merely another chapter in a saga already chronicled across streaming giants and primetime confessionals. December 2022 delivered the Sussexes' Netflix docuseries, 6 episodes of candlelit confession. Meghan revisited the now infamous bridesmaid fiasco, implying Catherine's froideur drove her to tears. Critics howled. Kensington insiders leaked notes claiming the sobbing happened in reverse. January 2023's Spare followed. Harry's memoir packed with frostbitten anecdotes and another retelling that painted Kate as an unyielding enforcer of tradition. Viewers began compiling a timeline of contradictions, pointing out how each version seemed calibrated for maximum sympathy. Biographers pounced, waving contemporaneous emails they said contradicted Harry's lament. Yet the damage to Kate's reputation barely registered. Polling dipped for a week, then rebounded. What fascinated analysts was Meghan's dependence on the same scene to anchor separate narratives, control the anecdote, control the feed. Even Oprah's March 2021 interview had recycled the dispute, layering on a new insinuation about Kate's ownership of formality. Psychologists on breakfast television warned memory morphs under strain, but the televised jury had already moved on. The repetition, some argued, revealed less a quest for truth than a longing for center stage. By then, the battle had spilled from talk shows to wardrobes. Fashion bloggers stitched together comparison boards showing Meghan and Catherine in near-identical camel coats, emerald midi dresses, even matching Breton stripes. Tabloids labeled the phenomenon Duchess cosplay. Meghan's stylists insisted trends overlap naturally, yet the internet loves a mirror war, and commenters zoomed in on sleeve length and hat angle with forensic zeal. One rumor cut deeper. Archewell's promotional deck allegedly included cropped images of the Wales children to illustrate community initiatives. Lawyers denied any misuse, but the story hardened perceptions that Meghan wasn't just imitating, she was exploiting. Even innocent coincidences became ammunition. When Meghan appeared on a panel wearing a Zara blazer, headlines reminded readers she'd once hosted a say-ya-later Zara party after landing her suit's role, gifting cheap clothes to friends. Critics framed the outfit as calculated relatability, a move straight from Catherine's high-low style playbook. Twitter polls asked which Duchess wore it better. 93,000 votes crowned Kate. For Meghan, the numbers mattered because numbers translate into deals, streaming orders, sponsorships, passes to the power rooms. Each digital tally felt like a verdict, carving deeper lines into a tense saga. Hollywood's Whisper network, always attuned to shifting power, began tallying wins and losses. In mid-2024, Spotify axed the Archetypes podcast, reportedly balking at high production costs and what one executive called a lack of consistency. Netflix quietly shelved an animated series long in development. Trade magazines blamed corporate belt-tightening, but insiders fed a juicier tale. Producers were exhausted by Meghan's insistence on final cut authority, a privilege rarely granted to newcomers. The narrative gained traction when Mindy Kaling, elusive about details, admitted on a red carpet live stream that creative collaborations sometimes collapse under massive egos. Fashion houses chimed in, leaking emails that suggested Meghan grew furious when couture slots for the 2024 awards season prioritized Catherine. Designers feared alienating the future queen consort. They could afford to disappoint an ex-royal, not the monarchy. Agents read the room. Offers shifted from prestige docudramas to cameo voiceovers. For a former actress craving A-list gravitas, the downgrade stung. Even the Montecito neighbors felt the chill. Invitations once bragging about architect-lit garden soirees slowed, replaced by discreet dinners curated for damage control. Industry veterans whispered that the Sussex magic was fading faster than a sunset sponsorship. When tragedy struck, the media cycle tilted yet again. On March 22, 2024, Catherine released a softly lit video revealing she was undergoing preventive cancer treatment. The statement, equal parts vulnerability and resolve, drew praise from presidents, pop icons, and pediatric patients who saw hope in her composure. Social networks filled with green heart emojis. British newsreaders spoke through tears. Montecito issued a short note of support, then went radio silent. Commentators debated whether Meghan's restraint was respect, strategy, or shock. Some argued any lengthy statement would seem self-serving. Others believed silence was designed to avoid an unfavorable comparison. Meanwhile, analytics tracked a surge in Catherine-related charity donations. For the first time in months, Meghan dominated no chart. Behind the scenes, her advisors reportedly floated the idea of a motivational podcast episode about resilience, but the plan was shelved. The optics felt opportunistic. Harry, sources claim, urged calm. The couple instead retreated from paparazzi lenses, yet absence paradoxically amplified Kate's dignity. In staying quiet, Meghan unintentionally highlighted the contrast she had long tried to erase. For royal watchers, the silence thundered louder than any interview Meghan could ever have scheduled. With cameras dark, strategists examined new data and found a pattern hard to dismiss. Whenever Catherine's approval ratings spiked, after a children's hospice visit, an early years research launch, even a simple school-run photo, fresh Sussex rumors surfaced within 48 hours, talk of documentary pitches, whispers of a second memoir, hints of reconciliatory Zoom calls. Public relations veterans dubbed it the spotlight tug-of-war and claimed Meghan's team understood one principle: attention is currency, and scarcity can bankrupt a brand overnight. Supporters countered that the monarchy routinely weaponized leaks, forcing the Duchess to defend her name. Both claims remain unverified, yet the choreography feels rehearsed. Psychologists describe envy as a fire that seeks oxygen, remove fuel and it smolders, ignite headlines and it roars. After Kate's viral dash toward a little girl waiting outside a charity event, Sussex surrogates teased a potential New York philanthropic summit. Nothing materialized, and speculation wilted. Meanwhile, Kate's clip kept circulating, earning more than 100 million loops on TikTok. Each replay made the public ask the same question: why answer quiet grace with louder grievance? Columnists mused that the louder the response grew, the audience seemed to feel it shrink. Catherine's ascent and Meghan's recoil have morphed into a royal eclipse, one bright disk absorbing the other's light. Coronation applause, Wimbledon cheers, streaming confessions, couture clashes, Hollywood hesitations, and a silent cancer battle have etched the contrast in public memory. Kate's power thrives on calm presence, Meghan's on narrative thunder. But constant thunder numbs ears. In a kingdom of attention, the victor may be the woman who needs it least, while the other burns fuel-chasing beams that only grow dimmer.